What's the biggest thing holding you back from playing the Final Fantasy series? Is it the massive, overarching story?
You sound sad.
Yeah, maybe.
Want to scream?
I really don't think that's gonna help this.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
The slow and boring turn-based combat? How about how many characters there are to care about?
Is it that time already?
What time?
Quittin' time. Sorry, but this girl doesn't work after hours. I could, but there wouldn't be a single gill in it for me.
Well, what if I told you you've been wrong about what Final Fantasy is this entire time? After polling a ton of people I know, the biggest reason that I see people disregarding the Final Fantasy series is truly a detriment to Square Enix themselves. Final Fantasy is an anthology series. When we talk about anthology series, what exactly are we talking about? Well, we mean a collection of stories, all told potentially within the same universe, but ideally have nothing to do with each other, and can stand on their own. Some great examples of well-known anthology series are things like American Horror Story, where each season has a completely different story but uses the same cast for the most part, and often have nothing to do with subsequent seasons. We don't talk about you. For games, we have things like the Monster Hunter series, or even Far Cry. Basically, if it has an overarching theme, but most of the stories don't impact each other in any real significant way, then it's an anthology. And that's why Final Fantasy's naming scheme has been its biggest weakness the whole time. When naming things in subsequent order, you kinda interpret it as a sequel. Final Fantasy is more than that. It's a collection of stories that allow you to peek into this fantasy world and see so many aspects of it. You can adventure as a follower for the one true champion and be by their side with every move as they go to beat the big bad guy. Or you can be that one true adventurer. Have you ever wanted to roleplay as Special Ops? There's a Final Fantasy game for that. And that's the biggest point I'm trying to make. You have Final Fantasy games that are real-time action games, so if that's more your speed, then Final Fantasy 15 or 16. There are Final Fantasy MMOs, like Final Fantasy 11 or Final Fantasy 14 Online, which is one of the highest rated MMOs on the market right now. Then there's the era of the active battle system, which mixed real-time and turn-based combat, so you have a bar that goes up with time, and that bar decides when you can attack, meaning you could sometimes attack twice before your opponent could even attack once. These games include Final Fantasy 4 through 9. Finally, there's the true turn-based gameplay that most of you are afraid of, and this only includes Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, and 10. Out of 16 mainline entries, only 4 of them are the turn-based combat that I hear complained about. Yes, Final Fantasy X is one of the highest rated Final Fantasy games, and it uses turn-based combat, but that doesn't discredit the gameplay even in the slightest. If you truly wanted to get into Final Fantasy but feel really lost, then play Final Fantasy X. The story is basically you, a character from another universe being thrust into the Final Fantasy world. Tons of questions and a ton of unexplained things are going on that will slowly be unraveled throughout playing the game. This gives you a great grip on the world of Final Fantasy. But enough juicing. What are the downsides? Well, if you're not already a fan of JRPG games, it can be really hard to sell one to you. My challenge for you is to think about what exactly it is about JRPG games that turns you off of them. Is it the combat style? The writing? The lack of voice acting in some cases? Really think about what deters you from the JRPG genre, because you're probably limiting yourself for potential games you might like. Then Final Fantasy games can be long. If you're wanting to 100% them, you're looking at 80 to potentially 120 plus hours. But don't let that be daunting. Most Final Fantasy games' main story completion clocks out at just about 40 hours each. I beat Final Fantasy 15 in 38 hours on my first playthrough. Then menus. There's just so many of them. And this kind of brings me to a side point. If you can get over the hump of reading in video games, I can promise you'll have a significantly better time. Now, I'm not saying you have to sit and read every quest description and every piece of lore in every game, and quite the opposite actually. Just worry about reading inventory items and ability descriptions. I promise that most of the things you're Googling are right in front of your face. And there is an autosave system, but it's not very generous. Most of the time, you can only save in an area with a little guy like this, or in a building or a camp if it's a newer Final Fantasy game. But seriously, save often and save before you do anything of note. There's nothing worse than dying to a boss and then having to do the entire dungeon over again because you forgot to save. Final Fantasy is a series that tries something new every time. It has a lot of similarities, such as names or spells or recurring character or two, but I'm certain that there's a Final Fantasy game for everyone. Top-down turn-based, 3D that's kinda turn-based, and full-on hack-and-slash games. I truly believe that even for as big as Final Fantasy is, that it truly is underappreciated and underplayed as a series. At least here in the West. This is literally just touching the surface of what Final Fantasy has to offer. We haven't even talked about Final Fantasy Tactics or any of the other spin-off games. So if you've played a Final Fantasy, which iteration was your favorite and why? If not, then what's stopping you from playing them?